Coming up next on the National Desk, a school shakeup. Erika Sanzi with Parents Defending Education joins us live next to discuss the indictment of a school superintendent as well as spokesperson over the handling of two separate student sexual assaults in Northern Virginia. School district shakeup. Loudoun County, Virginia superintendent and school spokesperson indicted over the handling of two student sexual assaults. Joining us this morning to discuss this is Erika Sanzi with Parents Defending Education. Erika, great to see you as always. Now, the indictments are a result of a special grand jury sexual assault investigation after a teen boy sexually assaulted a girl in a school bathroom and then went on to sexually assault another girl when he transferred to a different school. This incident obviously outraged parents across the country, and the big question people still want to know, and I don't know if you know, how was this teen boy able to attend another school after such an egregious allegation? School should not be a place where you fear being sexually assaulted, obviously.
Yeah, so I'm going to first say I don't live in Virginia, and I'm not an expert on like the details of all of this. So I'm going to speak in broader strokes. But what I do know is that this was an involuntary transfer, which means that the student is moved to another school and, you know, he doesn't have a choice, and the school that's going to have to receive him also doesn't have a choice. In this case, the student was already wearing an ankle bracelet, and there were obviously major red flags around him, not only because his mother had been begging for help with him for years, but because staff in the prior school had raised red flags. So I'm not sure that the problem here is the transfer as much as it's the nonchalance with which the receiving school handled him. It was as if this was any other kid transferring in. And so when girls were being bothered, harassed, touched, and then ultimately, you know, one girl was, you know, dragged into a classroom and assaulted, it's as if they just didn't handle it. They just didn't handle it properly. And so what I was really stunned by was, again, the nonchalance with which the school handled this student, knowing what had happened, right, at least allegedly in the prior school.
It's as if this is something that happens often, and so this is how they're going to take care of it. In fact, a special grand jury report detailed the superintendent, Scott Ziegler, and other administrators failed at every juncture. In fact, the grand jury report condemned the superintendent for denying any knowledge of the first assault at a school board meeting. So what role does the school board play in all of this? What is their culpability?
It's huge. It's safe to say, I think that, again, maybe not every single member of the school board, but a very large number of those school board members absolutely should resign. They were complicit in what was going on here. You know, not only because, I mean, let's remember, the school board meeting that went viral when the father of the victim showed up and ultimately ended up dragged out in handcuffs with his face, you know, plastered all over the media internationally as some sort of quote unquote domestic terrorist, I believe was some of the terms we heard, right? He was simply there because his child had been assaulted, and he heard the superintendent say there had been no assaults in any bathrooms, and the dad knew that that was a lie. So again, we have an issue of school board members being complicit, school administration being complicit, and to be honest, also many media outlets complicit, because this poor father became the poster child to smear parents all over the country, right, when all he was doing was standing up for his daughter and upset that people were lying about what had happened.
And in fact, this revolutionized and galvanized parents into learning what's happening inside America's schools. It took an election, a new governor, and an executive order before this was even investigated. What steps does the Virginia Department of Education have to take statewide to ensure this does not happen again, and really that this does not happen somewhere else?
I don't know, again, like the specifics about what authority the Department of Education has in Virginia, but I do think it's important to note, without Governor Youngkin, you know, through executive order, having the Attorney General impanel a special grand jury, there's a good chance that the public never finds out what really happened. And I can say that in other states, there are many cases and situations where people wish the governor would step up like Youngkin did because of information that's being withheld, again, on topics either related to assaults student to student or sexual misconduct that involves staff. So clearly the main thing here is that, sunlight is the best disinfectant, and that the lack of transparency is such a problem. We know that the school board and their legal counsel and the school administration in Loudoun County worked very hard to obstruct even the process with this special grand jury. They didn't want the truth out there, and they still refuse now to release the independent investigation that they had done prior to the grand jury. So there's too many different entities sort of working together against the public and against parents and against transparency, and that has to change.
Yeah, the tenacity of so many parents also in this school district, and it really is a lesson learned for parents nationwide when something like this happens. Erika Sanzi with Parents Defending Education, we appreciate you joining us this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, Jan. Have a great holiday.
You too. You as well, and Happy New Year.